Tonight on CTV, World War II veterans talk about their experiences here on campus.
A study on sleep exposes some unhealthy nighttime habits.
And later, rideshare scooters may be making their way to Fort Collins.
All this and more starting right now on CTV. Good evening, Rams, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Ryan Crist.
And I'm Emma Iannacone. Tonight we bring you updates on a structure fire that evacuated 2 Poudre schools on Wednesday. According to Poudre Fire Authority, Olander Elementary School and Global Village Academy had to briefly evacuate yesterday afternoon after a power surge. Crews reported to a structure fire at Olander Elementary School at 1:45 and then to a fire alarm at Global Village Academy at 1:50. PFA spokesperson Chris Wolf says they suspect the power surge caused a heating motor to smoke at Olander and triggered the fire alarms at Global Village, less than half a mile away. Thankfully, no one was injured and no property was damaged at either location.
At least 60 million people died in World War II, or roughly 3% of the world population in just 4 short years. This war is an unforgettable event in history, especially for 2 guest speakers who came to campus last night because they were there. While this war was decades ago, the actions that took place still echo today. Last night at the LSC, Win Schendel, a German citizen, and Layla Morrison, an American nurse during World War II, came to discuss their experiences.
We got to Germany. It was the coldest winter they had had in 50 years.
I'm sorry about that.
I was from Georgia, and it hurt.
Win went through the Hitler Youth Program and met Hitler. And the political climate that he sees today scares him.
History will repeat itself, and we have a tendency to do this. In respect to what we are going through in this country now, it's scary because there's a lot of, and I see a lot of similarities, and we have to wake up, and not through bombing raids on our buildings in New York, but within. America has to wake up from within.
And to CSU professor Mike Mansfield, he sees Win's opinion.
You know, Win saw the Nazis firsthand. His father was killed by the Nazis. He participated in Hitler's Youth. And as he said later, you know, he realized finally later he had been lied to. So that's the real importance of this, to understand what Nazism was really about. It wasn't about dressing up and acting angry and carrying a sign. It was, you know, the annihilation of a state, really. And I think a lot of the younger generation needs to look at their history to fully realize how evil or demented those people really were.
Looking back now and analyzing things, it was like hell. What people can do to each other is unbelievable. I think it goes on in the same time today.
One of the biggest takeaways from this event was that if we don't talk about these events in history, they are bound to happen again. 85-year-old Win and 96-year-old Layla plan on continuing the conversation.
Quite a powerful story, Ryan. Well, in CSU news, free printing and cheaper textbooks were discussed at Wednesday night's Associated Students of CSU meeting. Senator Josh Lindell talked to the Senate about Freinters, a company founded by Chicago students that makes paper free on university campuses. But here's the catch. Instead of paying for printing, full-page advertisements are included on the first, last, and every 4th printed page. Later during Senate, Senator Jack Wold McGimsey proposed a resolution in support of CSU efforts to pursue the Colorado Open Education Resources Grant, which would provide up to $500,000 in funding for resources that primarily includes textbooks and supplemental learning materials. For more information on these resolutions, you can check out today's Collegian newspaper.
Some new facilities might be adding to the growth of the city of Fort Collins. On Wednesday, Watermark Residential, a multifamily development and residential management company, met with the Fort Collins city planners to discuss plans to build 300 new apartments on Spalding Lane. The Poudre School District is also considering the addition of 2 new middle schools and high schools, one in Wellington and one on the other side of East Interstate on Prospect Road. Plans have not yet been finalized for any of these new structures, as the city and the developer explore new possibilities. To find out more about these plans, you can look at collegian.com.
With fall break coming up, students like myself are looking forward to catching up on some sleep. According to a study by the National College of Health Assessment, more than half of college students feel they're not getting enough sleep. And there are a few things that could be part of the problem. Byron Pritchard is an average CSU student. He goes to class, plays intramural sports, and even plays video games before bed.
If I'm not playing League of Legends, I'll probably be playing any assortment of games I can on Steam.
But what Pritchard says is relaxing, doctors say can cause sleep problems.
So what we hear oftentimes is, they're on their devices until right before they fall asleep, and then they're having a hard time falling asleep.
Studies show that the blue light from your cell phone can cause problems falling asleep. But researchers at CSU say there's more to it than that.
Unfortunately, in college, for college students, it can be stressful in terms of time management and meeting all the expectations for classes. There can be increased stress that can lead to sleep difficulties.
It can feel like a never-ending cycle for students. Stress causes sleep problems, and lack of sleep causes more stress.
But what we are starting to recognize is that poor sleep is actually fueling stress and anxiety.
To research the relationship between sleep and mental health, Dr. Ekman's work focuses on veterans attending CSU who often suffer from insomnia.
When we've had opportunities to work with them and their sleep is improved because of the program, we see decreases in their depression, in their stress, and in their anxiety.
While many students like Pritchard feel they get plenty of sleep, researchers say it's important to limit streaming and social media use before bed, or the effects could become serious. For students struggling with sleep, there are self-help resources on the Restoring Effective Sleep Tranquility website and at the CSU Health Center.
A new course is now being required here at CSU for all students enrolled in the Doctor of Veterinarian Medicine program. The course is focused on animal welfare, which is defined as how an animal is coping with the conditions it is living in. Taught by Lily Edwards-Callaway, Assistant Professor of Livestock Behavior, the class began in 2017. It offered guest speakers such as world-renowned animal welfare scientist and CSU Professor Temple Grandin, as well as Dr. Mark Setter, Dean of the College of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences. Concepts taught in this course can be applied to all animals. November 16th through the 18th, CSU will also be hosting the Intercollegiate Animal Welfare Assessment Contest, where students will compete to explore animal welfare as it relates to dairy goats, ducks, polo ponies, and more. The contest is hosted by the American Veterinarian Medical Association. For more information about this contest, you can visit awjac.org.
If you're a college student looking for another way to get around Fort Collins, then there might just be a solution for you. Rideshare scooters are becoming one of the most popular ways to get around cities, much like Denver and soon Fort Collins. Scooters operated by Lime, Lyft, and Bird allow riders to access scooters via smartphone app and charges a fare of around 15 cents per minute. Scooters can be left anywhere around the city for the next rider to pick up. Although the scooters have not been officially approved, as the city is still creating regulations to avoid traffic congestion and other inconveniences, their arrival is inevitable. Well, Ryan, what do you think about that?
I think I've seen them in Denver, and I've never had the urge to use it because it's like there's no need, especially here in Fort Collins. I mean, our downtown isn't even that large.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. And with a large biking population here in Fort Collins, it'll be interesting to see how that fits in.
I agree. Well, Rams, that's all we have for news tonight.
But stay tuned, because up next we have your forecast for the start of the Thanksgiving break with Carson Porterfield. Have a great night.